How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the one trade that I took on MES. I took some puts when we got a break in the structure today. Got a decent win. Could have had a better entry. We'll touch on that in just a second. For now, we're looking at the 15-minute chart. If we back it up here, we can see kind of last Friday, yesterday's price action in here, some of the pre-market stuff going on in here. I guess this is more pre-market, and then today's price action pretty much from this point on. We were within this range that we've been in since yesterday, really, especially with yesterday's low of day and high of day. We were maintaining within that range. And a few things I was watching were those low and highs of day, as well as the zone above us at 51.43 to like 51.53. To the downside, this happened later in the day, but we will touch on it since we're down there. 50.84 to 50.72 or 73, we'll call it. And then this one down here at 50.42 to 50.35. So coming into the day, we were looking more like this in terms of where we're opening. So catching a call off the bottom of this zone would have been really nice, at the bottom of this range that we were in. That happened an hour before market opened, so did not catch that. When the market opened, we were somewhere in here, kind of right in the middle of this range, right? Highs are up here, lows are down here, and I didn't want to touch it. So we'll hop down into a smaller time frame and take a look at where we were. Market opened in here. Like I said, getting some longs down here, especially these longer wicks, would have been nice towards yesterday's low of day. Didn't catch that, but we opened kind of in this mid-range. So what I was looking for was either a reaction at the top of the range or a reaction at the bottom of the range. We formed a bit of a trend line, kind of moving our way up. And in fact, I'm gonna pull this down. We'll look at both time frames here. As that trend line I drew was on the all right. So open the day right in here, kind of forming this lower trend line, trading within this channel, trending upwards for the day, making higher highs, higher lows. This is where I started to get interested. I would have liked to catch a move off this trend line like this, or this would have been really solid. Looking at easily like a 5-6 point move off that pretty easily. So caught that a little late, but I started to get interested once we were reaching, and if we pull up higher time frame here, we were reacting up here, which you can see we held as support, before we look across, holding a support here, 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 finding resistance in here, finding resistance kind of in here as well. Same kind of area that we were forming what ended up being nearly like a quadruple top here. But with our failure to break higher and create a new high on the day, I was watching for this trend line that had been holding since the pre-market boost, since that swing low, to break and then to enter shorts targeting the downside. I did enter 2 contracts. So my first entry was a break below this swing low here, or excuse me, the swing low right here. So I wanted to see us break the trend line, and then I wanted just to see this break this level of support, kind of this level that we reacted as resistance, about 4 times, then support here for this push up. Break that and create a lower low. So break that and get continuation to the downside. I don't normally trade breakouts. This probably would have been a better one to purely take as a retest of that broken trend line. As you can see, that worked out really well right here. But I did take a breakout order right here, and it immediately started bouncing. So where was my target? My target was the low end of this range. I was targeting 51.24, so right in here. Reason being, found some support. If we look all the way back, these are bouncing around 51.24. The candle of all these, the body of all these candles is right around 51.24. and it was just below the low of the pre-market, or just above the low of the pre-market. So that's the area that I was targeting for my take profit. Once we started bouncing from here though, I added 1 on the retest of the trend line in here, and I moved my stop to about 51.41. Reason being, if we did break above these and create a new high, I would want to get out of this position. You know, that could have been a fake breakout and then get continuation up. So move my stop up to just below 51.42, somewhere around in here. When we pushed up, I added when we were retesting that trend line. The trend line is a little off between these two time frames, but this is the one that I was watching. So added another contract here and had my stop loss around here is where I was mentioning. So ultimate target was 51.24. I did set a intermediate target in here of, or excuse me, I think it was on this swing low. I targeted this swing low for my first take profit. So when we came down and busted through this level, I took 1 contract off and I had 1 remaining. At this point, I started moving my stop loss down. So once we broke through, we did so with a good amount of momentum, at which point I brought my stop loss, I think above this candle, and then just started to gradually move it down. Once we were down in here, I moved it just above these wicks here, this little swing high that we have. I was watching on the 5,000 tick chart, it looked like we were kind of putting in a bottom. So I was going to hold out for that 51.24, but wanted to lower my stop loss well into profit. So I didn't give anything back necessarily, trying to chase a bigger reward. You can see that we did form a bottom, you know, kind of failed to break lower and then reversed. I was stopped out on this candle here, and that was from this entry, about a 7-point stop. So decent profit. The first trim was pretty small. It was only 2 or 3 points. Second trim was about 7-point win. Entered this a little prematurely. Waiting for this retest of the trend line would have been a much better entry. Entering kind of at the top of this range where we were finding resistance would have been a better entry. So a little bit of patience would have done me well. I think I'll continue to exercise some patience and resist buying the breakout and instead waiting for that retest, even if it does mean missing some moves, but getting a better entry overall. Because had I gotten stopped out on this, it would have been a much bigger stop loss than I normally would have wanted. Ideally, I was targeting, you know, 51.24, which is like a 13-point move from my entry. So having a pretty big target, but at the same time, trying to avoid widening my stop loss because my entry was a little bad. So I wanted to adjust my stop loss based on price action, not based on profit and loss necessarily. So that is what I did here, and that, you know, kept me in the trade when we did push back up. However, having a better entry could have avoided that altogether and had a much tighter risk to reward, and, you know, a better entry which would have resulted in better gains as well on the day. So some lessons to be learned there. You see, on what's funny enough is this trend line was drawn on the 1,000 tick chart, but if you look at the 5,000 tick chart, we get this pop up and this retest almost perfectly here for rejections and continuing to hit lower lows on the day. So this downtrend that happened kind of right in the later half of the morning, really solid. I caught a small little chunk of it, a real small little chunk. But we're up overall on the day, thinking that I'm liking trading off Trade-Evate, being able to place orders and stops directly on the screen, drag them to price levels as I see appropriate. It just streamlines the whole thing, and I think it gives viewers better insight into, you know, when I'm in a trade, where my stop is, where my take profit is. Might help kind of understand what I'm seeing in the chart, as well as you know, how I approach these trades. So I'm liking it so far. First 2 days, yesterday and today, trading on Trade-Evate, 2 positive days as well. Starting slow, you know. I took about last week off completely. The week before, I had some losing days to end the week. Just trying to approach it a bit better, be a little bit more patient, enter higher probability trades, and then also looking to, as you see, with holding my trades a little bit longer, not just taking tiny little scalps, but using higher time frames to estimate kind of the moves that we might get. For at the top of the range, I'm targeting, I want to see that full top to bottom move, or that full bottom to top move if we're trading within a range. Obviously you're not always going to get that, so having some profits along the way and leaving runners to try to extract that majority of the move. But we'll see. Feeling a little bit more comfortable sizing down though, so that's been good so far. Thank you for watching. That's all I have for you. I do trade live Monday through Friday. I'll be here all week. That's all I got. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.